So there's a lot of questions about risk factors that we did, like, I don't know, it was last week or 2 weeks ago that I haven't gotten to, so I'm just going to answer a few of those while I have a second. How can someone with 10 plus kids seemingly have no prolapse? Seemingly. We don't know. They probably do. So check out my most recent reel. I just did some information on how to self-assess for an avulsion, but there's some good comments in there about how you need an endopelvic ultrasound, endovaginal ultrasound to diagnose it for sure. But if you have concerns about only one side moving when you're doing a contraction, then just ask your PT to check you for one. Just know that it's not super specific or sensitive way to diagnose palpation alone. Yes, that can be a factor for sure. So
Dad napping.
Maybe he is. I don't know. So there's a measurement on the POPQ called the genital hiatus, and it's the anterior-posterior measurement of the vagina. And the wider that is, the more likely it is that someone will develop prolapse because there's less support for the pelvic organs underneath. So yes, having a shorter perineum is a factor there. I got a couple of these questions about second pregnancies and stuff like that. So we don't have a ton of data on this. Will things worsen with each delivery? I don't know. I do know that there is someone conducting some research on this right now, so hopefully we'll get the results relatively soon. And when we talk about relatively in research, it could be a while. So definitely you can get back to baseline after each one, and there isn't a hard and fast rule that things do get worse. Most providers are on the same page in that most of the damage, if you want to call it that, is done with the first or whichever one you developed a prolapse with. But this is really different for every person, so I wish I could say, but we just don't have good data to make a judgment call on that one. Similar question here. I don't know if you should have a vaginal delivery or a C-section. I wish I could tell you. I actually have a whole highlight called, I think it's called C-section versus vaginal birth or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it's called. But we go into depth about this topic, and I share a lot of your guys' thoughts also. It's obviously a very heated debate. You can read people's opinions in there, but I think it gives really good perspective from both sides and allows you to make a really good decision for that yourself. I wouldn't say that this counts just because the fetus is so small at this point that there isn't trauma or stretching to the pelvic floor that would increase your risk. So this definitely makes more sense, like there being a symptom correlation after something like that, because that's like a trauma, right? So of course your body's going to internalize that whole process, and you're going to have some more symptoms and tension after an experience like that. I don't know of any data on this, but this was another question that you guys, a couple of you asked about, are like small people more correlated to have prolapse or not? I don't know, but last time we did a little poll and we asked this, it was like you were all really spread out with your heights. So I don't know, but I have heard some of you say that you think it's more smaller people who have prolapse. I think so. I think that I saw one time in a study that like a precipitous labor was a risk factor, but I cannot find it for the life of me. I've tried looking for it again and I cannot find it. So if any of you have that article, please send it to me. But in my mind, if there's less time for things to stretch out and lengthen, and it's just like all of a sudden baby, that's a lot. That's a lot of trauma, similar to like pushing for 3 hours, right? So just different types of trauma, but similar amount of, I don't know, stress on your pelvic floor? Probably not. And I don't say this to be like, you were doomed from the beginning, but just to have grace for yourself. Like, you went through all of this, that's a lot. It makes sense that there's some lasting effect on your body, right? This one is interesting to me also, and my husband and I chatted about this. He's right there, so maybe he'll jump in and remind me of the things we talked about. This is the socioeconomic status question. A couple of you asked this, and our conclusion was that these people have potentially less support at home for recovery during their pregnancy, etc. Lower socioeconomic status, people tend to be solo parents, like single moms, more than higher socioeconomic status, and so that's going to be more of a burden on this person throughout their pregnancy and in the early postpartum period. There's also going to be less education, right? So less resources to begin with, so they're not as aware. They might not have had any perinatal or quality perinatal education. A lot of these people also are going to be returning to work more quickly. What's up, buddy? Let's go see the grasshopper. Come on. The other one on this is that these people with a lower socioeconomic status likely have more children. I'm not saying that's like a hard and fast rule. It's just a fact. There's less education around and access to contraceptives. It's okay. Say no, Clover, and then just walk away. Say no, Clover, walk away. Let's walk. We're going to walk away from her. And so we know that more vaginal deliveries means increased risk of prolapse with subsequent deliveries. Not that it gets worse with each one, but that if you don't have one already and you have more pregnancies or more vaginal deliveries, your risk increases. So with advanced maternal age, we're getting less tissue quality for healing, right? So just think as we age, it makes it more challenging to recover from injury in general. And so that's same factor with prolapse. I mean, up-to-date research